You have failed me, Ivan. Do not fail me again.
Strike team, this would seem a suitable moment to cry a little.
Ivan Rannick is another one of those pesky interrogators, folks on the cusp of becoming a supreme authoritative power within the ranks of the Imperium. In Inquisitor Grendel's absence, Rannick and his beloved data slate hold the line in the struggle to keep Atoma safe from the unshowered forces of Nurgle. It's a big ask to keep both Tertium intact and to live up to the unrivaled charisma of a corpse projecting the likeness of several reject faces. Whenever our wacky bold hologram goes back into hiding, the interrogator must face the scrutiny of 1,000 dejected underlings, whose first impression might have them wondering why some twerp in an office is questioning an Ogrin for suspected heretic espionage.
Everyone is a suspect.
Or perhaps they've already gazed above the mission terminal just in time to see his semi-rendered hairdo grace the Morning Star, creating a video just so you can display this seemingly unremarkable man crying at the foot of Grendel's servitor as a laugh, but zoom closer to the poor fella and there's some detail you might not have noticed. For that reason, I'd like to keep dissembling Darktide's characters before another set of Mortis trial memories released to disprove everything I'm about to mention.
Tear the carcass to pieces!
Rannick's small but increasing investment in our capacity for violence has him monologuing to us a lot more than before. At this point, it's clear that, surprise surprise, the guy approaching career highs of the comically evil Inquisition might not be a very nice bloke. An interrogator's job can be tough, and Rannick makes it look really quite tough. So how does he hold up in an occupation where incompetence has terrible consequences? And most importantly, how on earth have they made this horrid man almost likable? As shutters darken the interior of a very expensive-looking intro cinematic, we get a glimpse at the victims of Grendel's spontaneous get-together, and sure enough, there he is, our toxic old interrogator, probably backseating the guy whose job it is to find Tertium on the map. Rannick's been in service for long enough to rise above Grendel's other goons, or at least outlast them, with the two other interrogators from outside material providing little competition. One's stuck purging a glorified ice cube in the miniatures board game, and the other's busy being dead.
Did you know this?
Yes. No, I did not know that. That's terrible.
Within the focus of the game, there can only be one power-tripping narcissist interrogator, though he wasn't always strapped in relative safety to his chair. One of the earliest memories we have of Rannick before his big promotion was a regrettable day when he tried to recruit a hive ganger called Augustine Zola. I know, I've brought it up a million times, but Rannick breaking into Zola's home years before the events of Darktide is the most out-of-pocket thing to ever come out of this game.
If I see you again, I'll kill you.
You really should watch that waspish tongue. It doesn't do you any favors. Au revoir, Augustine.
It's amusing to imagine the then explicator Rannick navigating from a freighter all the way down to the torrent just to be told to bugger off. However, the joke's on my imagination because this misadventure was a success. Brunt and Morrow are sent to Extractor, which is a crazy team to send after one water cartel thug. Regardless, it can't have been easy tracking down skilled recruits in the Underhive, and it's good to see that these days, Ivan hasn't lost his ability to literally live in your walls.
Excuse me, what the actual fuck are you doing in my house?
Now he is the cold and distant ruler of the warband, a bit like his master, and him returning to field operations is about as likely as Grendel taking to the hub to shake everyone's hand. Naturally, since Fatshark gave us a glimpse into a once competent Rannick, they've decided to tip the scales and show almost every other iteration of Rannick being a hysterical failure.
That they have remained hidden until now raises questions about what we face here.
What the hell is that?
You want to know.
Can you hear the voice of truth? The giver of blessings untold.
You want to know.
Warp corruption. Confirmed. Recommendation. Exterminatus.
You want to know.
Yes, I was. It's my job to know.
At bare minimum, the person coordinating the efforts to stop a demonic incursion should probably know what they're up against. Ivan Rannick does not until recently in the story. With the sheer amount of information pulled from months on Tertium, the investigation on Nox Alpha, and redacted data only available to Warband VIPs, Rannick's Dark Communion commentary has a few of us scratching our heads. Captain Wolver and Ermal Skarkal did a bit of an oopsie when they left their channels open, leaving the Inquisition's brightest minds free to analyze every word.
I am not afraid of you.
I am shitting myself.
Why did it take a thoroughly embarrassing work dispute for Ivan to realize that the admonition of the visionary geniuses behind the piles of wet slop covering Tertium? Honestly, I'm having a very hard time thinking of any justification, but I'll give it a go. Starting with the fact that Rannick is not a very trusting man. From what has been said, he's extremely paranoid, and it doesn't help that people like Zola are constantly undermining his efforts to wage a slow, methodical war against chaos. It also doesn't help that Rannick seems unimpressed by Tertium itself. To him, Atoma is just another bunghole planet in the list of locations Grendel has demanded of him. Poor Blighter doesn't know he's fighting in the prophesized staging ground for the hit video game Warhammer 40k Darktide.
It's my understanding that there is a war going on right now. Am I right in this?
Well, actually, there are 2 wars right now.
2 wars? We're in the midst of 2 wars?
In gameplay, the way Admonition and Mobian's fight is quite similar. You're there, he's there.
Silence, please, now.
Narratively, the cult is a lot more about scheming and hiding in the darkness until the time is right, or until some stink lines on a cathedral give the game away. This is the universe where staring at dodgy fly symbolism for too long will turn your lungs inside out. Rannick is painfully aware that chaos is chaotic and warp equals bad, so big ups to him, but to know more we have to get inside his head. If only his thoughts about this whole ordeal were in some kind of ritual journal.
What the fuck is this?
Think of all the theories as to what Admonition's Dark Communion was trying to achieve. The revival of Rodin Karnak, his body as the vessel for a demon, or maybe, just maybe, Nurgle itself was set to pop out of the ritual. That's what Rannick implies in this log, along with a few less insane observations. Yeah, I may have cherry-picked these entries since the journal shows the rest of Ivan's shrewd thinking to be on point, though it's clear the man hasn't been reading the Lexicanum, and it's not like he can Google any of this stuff to see how wrong his various assumptions are. That goes for any of the threats the Warband might face.
So much for the insight of the Inquisition.
I have my limitations. The whimsy of Xenos rather falls outside my remit.
Does any of this excuse Rannick not knowing the Admonition cult's name 17 missions deep into the Battle for Tertium campaign?
No.
Not even me pulling hidden journals out of my ass can save Rannick from that blunder. Distance is something that is commonly attributed to any leadership mishap on Atoma, and we have 2 extreme examples staring us in the face. I will say, staying put on the Morningstar does have its advantages. For one, our interrogator gets to live a leisurely life on a rogue trader ship surrounded by loyalists. Unfortunately for Ivan, all the loyalists hate him because he won't let certain people back into his group chat anymore, or because he willingly sends hundreds of people to their deaths for scraps of intel that will never be capitalized on. In the absence of any true leadership qualities, Rannick has chosen fear.
I confess I am most curious to see a leash around tomorrow's throat. What?
Originally, there was to be a section where I tried to make Rannick seem more reasonable in the eyes of his peers. That was before I re-listened to most of his dialogue and remembered that this freak has probably never apologized in his entire life. There is his usual blanket technique of treating everyone like garbage, but he has a special poison for anyone challenging his rigid schemes. Zola's inexplicable ways have more than earned her one of the interrogator's patented taunts, calling someone by their first name in the most condescending way possible.
Details, my dear Augustine.
Since we are well-behaved Inquisition strike teams who love the Emperor so much, a ton of Rannick's ruthlessness is left to the imagination, or shown briefly during the odd promotional ceremony. Yet most of the characters don't even have to shake the Rannick nest to earn the disrespectful projections of a man laughably out of his depth. And that's mostly all he can dish out. We might not know exactly where this man came from, why Grendel chose him to bear these weighty burdens, but one thing is clear. Ivan's main qualification is his ability to rage bait. Maybe that's what being an interrogator is all about.
Established protocol clearly allows for autonomy in pre-approved, pre-designated areas.
My dear, you are to language what Exterminatus was to Sondheim 5.
Ivan's wicked sense of humor has him no closer to becoming a fabled Inquisitor. Inquisitor. Unlike Grandpa Brahms, who can stage many a voice, he's stuck with one, which is fine, because if it weren't for Paul Litchfield's great line delivery, Rannick wouldn't have many redeeming features. That said, when Interrogator Ivan Rannick isn't busy cementing himself as the kind of boss people make flash games about, he's staging theatrical ways to deflect Inquisition naysayers. It's not exactly a superpower to be able to smugly flex Grendel's seal at nosy arbitrators, but being a punching bag for political nonsense is at least a little bit commendable. And as you know by now, there's a lot of people who'd love to punch Ivan Rannick.
I heard that Rannick had a meeting with Lord Margrave. It didn't go well.
Every day is another glorious opportunity to petition some noble on Tertium, fail horribly, and take it out on your mates. Only Tertium, Grendel's patience, and the sanity of everyone involved won't last forever.
How long, please? How long, please?
There is no greater distraction than the slow realization that your boss isn't in it to restore Atoma's Camelid racing scene back to its former glory. Rannick is an important cog in Grendel's dysfunctional family. An important cog that might be close to finding out just how many lies it takes to keep Magos Karib's chambers safe.
I am not inside a fusion reactor.
We've had enough teasing from Amora's memories to know that Lord Inquisitor Blue Man is not what he seems. The effects that this secrecy has on Rannick's character is a big part of the intrigue, and for all his flaws, his commitment to snooping is pretty well justified. He wouldn't be a very typical inquisitorial agent if he wasn't gunning for reasons to point revolvers at his own peers. I would like to poke fun at folks who think Rannick is a traitor, the guy who personally coordinated the assault on the first of Admonition's prophetic rituals. However, in a sense, Rannick is well on his way to betray Grendel's trust. As Seer puts it, Rannick is a hollow man filled with another's purpose. What happens if that purpose fails? Are we due a crush out, or will this troubled bloke power through and finally take charge in the hunt for Admonition's heralds? It's been too long since he pleaded for violence, and there's a lot to unpack if we do go down that road. Let's hope the giant question mark hidden on the Morning Star behaves for long enough to make it happen. If not, or until then, I'll be here, showcasing the Darktide characters in increasingly uncharacteristic ways.
What the fuck is this?